Hey guys, welcome to a new review. Today I'm reviewing the Neca Celtic Predator from Alien vs. Predator. And I gotta say, this is a really good figure. It's really nice in almost every way. Maybe a few slight problems, but I'll get into that deeper into the review. Now, let's take a look at the packaging. Hey, Washed Up Terminator, bring it over. Hey, what do you think of it, Washed Up Terminator? He's one ugly mother. Hey, keep it G-rated. He's ugly. Okay, well, thanks for the kind words. Let's get out. No tip? Okay, here's a tip. Next time, don't put down the stuff that I spent $22 on. Okay, guys, let's take a look at the packaging here. Now, I do not have the plastic in there, obviously, the part that holds them in, but that's just because I want you guys to be able to see this wonderful background here. Take a look. It's got, you're seeing my entire room, for the goodness sakes. Hey, look, it's got the Predator head there that goes all around. Then it's got the Predator here, standing in like that alien room. I believe this is the room where the facehuggers come out, right? I don't know. It's been a while since I've seen the movie. And then it's got a nice little thing there that says Celtic Predator up there. Alien vs. Predator. Over 30 points of articulation includes sword, spear, backpack, and cannons. Nice. Oh boy, and then there's a huge read-up. I don't know if I'm going to read all that, but nice little look at the figures here. Got the Celtic. I don't remember any of the Chopper Predator, and I don't remember I think he's like the main character Predator, so I don't remember his name, but I might as well give it a try at reading this. In 2004, 3 young blood Yachtjaw brothers, Yachtjaw is like, I believe, Predator. That's their actual name. So like Xenomorph is more like the aliens' names. Predator is also that Yachtjaw. So the 3 young blood Yachtjaw brothers are sent to Earth to the remote Arctic location of Bouvet Island for an initiation hunt. This ceremonial rite of passage happens every 100 Earth years in an ancient underground pyramid. Their goal? To earn the title of Blooded Yachtjaw by stalking and killing their first xenomorph prey. The brothers hail from an isolated Yachtjaw clan high in the mountains, where temperatures vary from hot to freezing. Equipped with thermal heated netting, spiked foot claws, and full body armor. It's not really full body armor, whatever. Full body, they are one of the few clans who can endure a sub-freezing sight for their off-world hunts. Celtic is the oldest of the 3 brothers and is the alpha of their hunting group. Impulsive and brutishly aggressive, Celtic has accumulated the most kills among the group. As a result, he has earned more advanced weaponry than that of his kin, including a net launcher, gauntlet, and wrist blades that can flip 180 degrees. His life ends at the hands of the grid alien during a blind rage attempt to avenge the death of his brother, Chopper. That's a really nice little read-up there. It gives you some background into the characters that we didn't actually know. And I really like the Celtic Predator's look, but I believe in the movie he was also a really cool character. Didn't he, I believe he's the one who grabbed one of the aliens by the tails and was swinging it around, smashing it into building after building, or I guess pillar after pillar. But anyway, let's take a look here. See, just from this very pose you can tell that he's got a lot of posability to him, but let's take this weapon out of his hand and get a close look at the figure himself. Yeah, it's a little hard to maneuver that arm. Okay, there we go. Okay, so let's get a look at this face sculpt, I guess, or mask sculpt. It's not a removable mask, just in case any of you were wondering, but I'm okay with that because I don't believe that he ever had his mask off. So it would be odd to actually have that removable. But then you got all of his little dreads here, which are all like little rubbery, sort of individual pieces, but some of them are connected to each other. Like, they're loose at the bottom, but then attached up at the root of the hair. And he's got loose rubber parts on him here that can move up and down with his articulation, which is very nice. Gives you a little more movability, but his joints are a little tight because I just got him. He's really new. Okay, the there's a little sculpted rubber necklace piece here that has some bones and stuff. I don't know, there's a tiny little like baby looking bone there. What the heck? It's like a baby chipmunk. Why would you keep that bone? Come on, dude. Maybe his first kill. Okay. He's got rubber little loincloth parts here, and they're supposed to be like metal, but rubber is a good way to keep all the flexibility in the figure. And overall, really, just this sculpt is really amazing. Look at these spiked feet. I love that. It looks really menacing. It's not really flimsy feeling, but I get the feeling that if he were to fall, those would probably be the first things to start breaking up. I don't know. Are they kind of rubbery? They're kind of rubbery. Okay, so no, they wouldn't break. Thank goodness. Yeah, I was worrying about that at first. Okay. His gauntlet is really nicely sculpted. It's not like removable or anything. It doesn't seem like it can't flip open, but still really nice. And this is the gauntlet that shoots out at one of those nets that start closing up, and that's how he got the grid alien, right? And we're going to be getting the grid alien soon. I don't know. I think he might already be out. Just, I haven't seen him here yet. I like his sculpt of his hands here. Take a look. This one has a closed hand for more of grasping weapons and stuff. Looks nice. But then this hand here looks really nicely done. I like his gesture of like reaching out, kind of. It makes it good for like, yeah, that sort of pose, I suppose. What sort of pose do you suppose? Okay. I like his sharp little fingernails here, and nothing on this hand seems like it would break. It's kind of rubbery-ish, so you don't have to worry about that breaking off. Very nice. And the paint on it is fair. I like the paint that's on this side. There is no paint on the inside, but I don't really have a problem with that. Sort of looks glossy, and I believe that's pretty much how they look, right? Their insides of their hands are just glossy looking yellowish color. Yeah, it's like an underbelly. I'm fine with that. Which, speaking of belly, look, he has the same color on his stomach. Very nice little netting sculpted there, and the paint caught it perfectly. It's all in the right spot, and there's no real smudging or anything from the looks of it. Really, really nice looking. I like his armor. It all has some little dimplage and wear and tear with some black wash that went in there. Nice silver color. You can see all the dings on him. Just looks really nice. His mask is weird. It's got like these copper looking parts here, here, and here. I'm not sure what those are for. I suppose that's just like a breathing apparatus, I guess. Makes it like a gas mask. Then he's got the little eye parts here. And this is not at all a normal type of helmet for a Predator character. It's really nice looking. I like the way it looks, but it's not normal looking. It's got the metal part on the back here, and I believe the way this one dies is, doesn't he get like impaled with the alien tail and he's like bringing him up? I think so. That may be Chopper Predator, I'm not sure. Yeah. But this one, it said dies by the grid alien, and I don't think the grid alien was the one who did that, so maybe not. Let me get the focus back on here. Okay. Knocked into my stand. And then, if you look closely on his belt, he has some weapons that aren't removable, like this thing here closed up. That's one of his accessories there. We'll get into the accessories after I'm done looking at this wonderful paint and sculpt. Very nice. You can see it all the way down here. And as you can tell, the articulation points don't really mess with the way that the sculpt looks. It doesn't just go like here to then ball joints here that stick out and stuff. It looks very fluent to the point where when you articulate him, he doesn't look like he's a toy. Really, if you take some professional shots with some great dioramas, people would probably think this is from the set, just because it looks really cool. And I'd also like to point out, in the movie, they actually had shorter actors playing the Predators. They had like 6 feet tall guys, but then the main Predator was like 6'7", so they had to make these guys look a lot taller by comparison, just like putting them up on boxes and stuff to have them look like they're all around the same height. And they don't do that with these where they're a little shorter than each other, I believe. I believe they're all kind of the same height. I can't tell, but I've seen them like in package at the store, and they look like they're around the same height. So I think that's pretty nice. I don't actually mind that. But let's get a quick side-by-side here with a regular Neca figure, just to show you how massive this guy is. He's got to be like 8 or 10 inches tall. I'm not sure. Let me see, 7 inches? Probably about 9 or 8 inches tall. And that's pretty big for a Neca figure. You're really getting your money's worth here. Look at that. He's even thicker in every way. Just really, he's a massive character. I don't quite remember if they were all that tall, but I prefer it this way, so if they weren't, I'm okay with it. And since we're doing sizing comparisons, he's about the same height as the alien that came out in Series 1 of the Aliens figures. So take a look here, see that? Which is kind of cool. I mean, they're really quite a matchup here, aren't they? Alien versus Predator there. They should make a movie about that, Alien versus Predator. Oh no, wait, they did, and I'm reviewing the figure. It wasn't the greatest movie, but I remember enjoying it a lot when I was a kid. What did you guys think of it? And then he's got some weird rubber, like, bicep gauntlet parts here. I'm not sure 100% what to call that, but on this side it's just like flopping up. It won't go down, if you can see that. Weird. Okay, I think we've gone over the look of the sculpt and paint enough. I like the gold stuff on the dreadlocks. I don't think I pointed that out. There's like copper parts and gold parts and silver parts on the dreadlocks. Very nicely painted. Well done. And there's a nice mixture of rubber parts and thick plastic parts here, and you can't really tell the difference. It all just looks the same. I like that. So let's start out by grabbing some of his cooler accessories. These blades here, see these? Let's give you a close-up look. These attach to his gauntlet on this side here. Is right-handed gauntlet. Let me click that in. There we go. And it's not really like a pop-in or anything. It sort of just sits in there, but very tightly. So not really a complaint. It's fits in there in a way so that it doesn't fall out, and if you pull on it, it doesn't really come out. You have to pull it out, you gotta grab it down at the root and just like pull, and it comes out. But I'm not sure what they meant by his blade that flips 180 degrees. Are they talking about this? Because I don't think those are supposed to flip 180 degrees. Is he talking about, were they talking about this? I'm not sure. Okay. But these little blades add a lot to the character. So just like where he's normally standing here with his fist out, when you have those, he looks a little more imposing, doesn't he? I like that. Those blades really add a lot to the overall character. Really though, with all these weapons, it makes you think, how did they not just destroy the aliens immediately? These aliens seemed a little intelligent though, so I'm not quite sure what was going up there. And then, next accessory, which is also a very cool accessory, it's his shoulder blaster, or shoulder cannon, or whatever you want to call it. And it is very nicely sculpted. Let me see if I can get the right amount of focus. There we go. Yeah, it's got all that, like I said, dimplage and little recesses inside of there. Very nice. You can see some of the mechanic work here, the machinery. Looks really nice. And then there's a little like subtle copper spots in here that sort of stand out and make it look a little more painted, as well as this silver and black wash. It's just, everything here looks so well done. I can't even start. And when you get this little blaster top part is not connected. It's like this, and then you just have to pop it back in. So it's no real problem. But this thing is actually well articulated. So up at the top here it has rotation that can go 360 degrees. And it has a little bit of a bend on both sides that can take it down and up, like that. Then it has another articulation point further down that moves it down and up. And then it has an articulation point here that makes it slide forward and backwards. So backwards would be more like if it's deactivated, I guess. And then forwards, that's for when you're ready to do business with it. And then he has these tiny little holes on his back here. And what you do is you kind of line these up. I'm not really able to get them both in. It's always one or the other. So the top one and then the bottom one doesn't really want to line up for me. I'm not sure why. But it stays in perfectly this way, so no real complaints with that. And then that does hinder his articulation a bit, to the point where he can't really swing his head around without causing this to bump around. But that's not a huge problem, because I don't really care for too much for this shoulder cannon, and displaying it like that, it just, I don't think it really is that big of a deal. I like him better when he's got just the basic weapons on him, not the high-tech cannon. But then he also has these little wires that are on the mask here, little rubber wires. Let me see if I can get some focus here. And then these little rubber wires are supposed to connect to this tiny little spot here that has two little holes. Don't know if you can tell, it's right there. Let me set him down so that I can get you some focus. Yeah, see? Those two little holes. But unfortunately, I don't think anyone has the coordination or nimbleness to actually pull that off. So I'll give it a slight chance just to show you guys. So line it up there, slide it in. It goes in a little bit. Okay. And then the other one goes in. It doesn't like lock in place or anything. It's just like loosely in there. So let's bring it back here. Nope, it went loose and it's off. And then when it's over here, you can't really reach into there and get them in there. So it's a valiant attempt to try and get that all working together, but it doesn't work all that well. All I do is just take it here and slide in between his hair. It gives you the right idea. So I like that they are thinking about all that, but it's just not something that could actually be pulled off. I'm sure it looked better on paper than in execution, but just slide it through the hair. Doesn't have to connect to this really. I mean, it's not like that actually powers the cannon to make it fire or anything. And I believe that's probably supposed to be like in the movie, so that he can see where this is aiming and all from his mask, because it is kind of behind him. So that's kind of cool. And that's a huge hulking piece on his back. Makes him look like a bit of a hunchback. Yeah. Okay, next piece is this little... Let me set him down over here. This here little sword here. It's like a dagger, only a little longer. Not sure what they would call it. Let me get some focus. Focus. There we go. Very nice. Look at that. Nice silver paint up here. It's some darkish gray with some copper and gold. All working very well to complement each other. Looks like a very dangerous knife. If that were to go in, imagine it coming out. Jeez, it would tear you up. Very nice. And then down here it has this tiny little spike, which you can imagine the parts of this breaking off easily. Like that back part, it's not rubber or anything. That would break. So just kind of be careful with that. And then he has a little sheath here. It's a very nicely sculpted sheath. It's a little... It's not exactly loose, but you could get the feeling that that would break off, but not if you treat it well. So this just slides in here and goes in all the way. Check that. Very nice. I like that. That way if he's like, his blades are broken or whatever and he needs to face off with them, he just reaches down and grabs out his dagger. Very nice. Okay, next part. Let's go with the spinny disc, just because this is probably my least favorite of his accessories, just because it's kind of hard to get him displayed in a good way with it. But it's pretty cool looking. It's got all the blades on it. Let me get some focus again. It's got copper colors. It's got silver. Very nicely sculpted. A little brittle feeling. Could probably break on a dime. And then let's just... I kind of just tend to set that in his hand over here, make it look like he's holding it out. But you got to get the little blades in between his fingers and all. Yeah, it's more of a fidgety piece, so that's why it's my least favorite of his accessories. So yeah. You could also just set it in this hand over here. But then other than that, there's nowhere to sheath this, whereas everything else sort of has a place that pops into. This one, not so much. So let's just toss that aside. My least favorite accessory. And then he's got this nice spear here, which has all sorts of little sharp edges and parts. and it does feel a little bit flimsy, so I could imagine this one breaking a lot more than I could imagine most of his parts breaking. Jeez, focus is having trouble here. Okay, yeah, it's got some nice copper tones everywhere, some silver. It looks the same on both sides here. Yeah. I don't remember, but I think, shouldn't one side be a little more sharp and thick? I don't know. Probably not. Okay, and then that can slip into his hand, but it's kind of tricky because his hand's not exactly loose and open for that sort of stuff. There's just this tiny little crease where you can fit it through, this little opening. You gotta slide that into there. Careful for his ring finger there, I guess. His ring finger's awfully huge looking. Okay, and then you gotta just slide it down so his hand's in the middle of this copper part. And then you've got him holding his spear. So just look at how many weapons he freaking has here. He's just like decked out. I really like that. I kind of wish he came with a few extra hands, like for gripping on this hand and all. But for $22, I mean, this is already way too much considering they've got to have such a tiny amount of profit. Okay, let's pop this out again. And then there is a place to store this, not just in his hand. Which is what I like about this accessory, because it's a little hard to have a bunch of accessories that you don't know what to do with. So he's got this tiny little part back here. I don't know if you can see it, but it's those two prongs, and you just pop it in there, and it holds. It's a little bit loose, but if you just pull these together every now and then, it gets tighter, and then you can sort of move this up and down further and up just while it's got here, so you can get the position that you prefer. And then he's got what looks like a giant antenna sticking out of his back, but it's his spear, and I like that a lot. So then, once you have everything stored there, you could put the disc in his hand, and now he's got every single accessory on him. How do you like that? Not many figures that can do that, eh? Okay, now let's take everything off so that I can show you articulation. Well, first let's show you the articulation with the stuff on. Head can't move side to side because it'll knock everything off. And it can move back that much. And it can move forward that much. But once those are off, he's got more freedom. His head can move all the way around and all the way over there. All the articulation you want. His dreadlocks sort of get in the way, but not too badly. They'll just move to whatever position they prefer. And then he's got a little bit of head pivot, which I like. It's like, I ain't doing it, man. No way. Or, what'd you just say to me, man? What'd you just say? Yeah, very nice. His arm can move, not full 360 quite at the shoulder, just because of this part here, but not too bad, actually. And then it can move out about to a right angle to his body. It can move down and in, and then he's got a little rotation at the shoulder there in two different places, really, technically. Up and down here, and then rotation at just about the bicep-ish area here. Then he's got a double jointed elbow, which for Neca figures, having double joints is rare. I know the Colonial Marines have double jointed knees, and the Alien figure has double jointed joints. But this is the first time we've seen Predators with double joints, I believe. And that is really sick. Okay, and then at his wrist, he's got a little bit of a spin, which is inhibited by these blades. So just in case you were wondering, let me take these blades out so that I can spin it. Full 360, and then it can move up and down and back and forward and all. It's got a little freedom. It's a ball joint, so it's not really the most like if it was a hinged. And then he's got about the same articulation in the other arm, with a double jointed elbow and the spin and all. Now at his waist, he has a rotation at like the diaphragm here. He can move forward a bit and back a bit, not a huge amount, but it's added this also articulation down at the waist here that can move back and forth and side to side and stuff, which makes it, with those two added together, he can move quite a bit. I like that. So he can be like defending himself here. Yeah, I like that a lot, actually. Wow. Okay. Then at the leg, it's got some inhibited parts because of all the rubber parts that he has on him and all, but you can get it up to about that angle and kicking off to the side pretty far. This guy looks good in almost every position. And then it's got rotation right up at the crotch. Same on the other leg. Can kick up, can kick to the side, and then double jointed knees, which is a weirder type of double joint than we're used to. It's not like this one up here that's sort of got this separate middle piece and all. It's more of like an actual kneecap look. I like that. Looks really good. And he can bend quite far because of that. Look at that. And he's got that on both sides, so he could be like, I don't know, set on his knees. Or you could probably pick him up and do this. Yeah. Whatever, it works great, and I enjoy having that much articulation. Then he has rotation at the knee, and then a little more at the bottom here. No, not quite. And then at the feet, he's got a ball joint that can move forward this much, backward this much, and it's got quite a bit of pivot, not bad. So you can like stand this far apart with still some foot flat on the ground. I like that. Ankle pivot is nice. And that's pretty much all I have to say for this guy, right? Let me just give you a quick look at the articulation with this thing on. It's not really inhibited, really. Let me think. No, not quite. They do that a good job with that, actually. The arm has full articulation with the gun still on. So what do you guys think of this figure? I am actually a huge fan. He looks awesome. He's well articulated, and I can't really find much to complain about. Maybe just like a few parts that are a little bit flimsy, but that's not really something you could avoid because of how thin it's supposed to be and all. But whatever they did with this figure, it's magnificent in almost every way. So I would highly recommend this guy for whatever price he's going for right now. I could imagine him going for a lot more in the future, so make sure to stock up on these guys, because Neca figures tend to go at an increased price later on in life, and this guy is definitely one of those. So make sure to like, comment, share, and subscribe. Make sure to tell me what you guys think about him, and please check out my future videos and previous videos. I'll see you guys then. Peace.